Welcome everyone to another Wednesday night with fundamentals to gain inner peace with your host, Coach Menachem Bernfeld. And tonight we're doing class number 81. And for the recordings, all the past recordings are available on menachembernfeld.com. You can find them over there and join us on this journey. So before we start, I'd like to thank our sponsor. Tonight's sponsor is OK Clarity. OKClarity.com is the place to find the top-notch therapists, coach, nutritionists. Their professionals are vetted and have extensive experience working with the Jewish community. If you're in the market for a therapist, coach, or the like, or if you're a wellness professional looking to get more online exposure, go check them out. They also have an amazing WhatsApp status with thousands of listeners. You can join them. The number is 917-426-1495. That's 917-426-1495. Okay, so let's get grounded. See where we are, where we're coming from, how we feel. Take a deep breath. Just become aware of how you got here. If you listen to the recording, you might be driving. Just be aware of where you're going, where you're coming, watch where you're going. And then we go inwards to become aware of how do I feel? Maybe stress, something in my body. Maybe overwhelmed, maybe excited, positive emotions. Whatever it is, let ourselves feel. And wherever we feel it, arms, in our head, our legs, whatever we feel, just become aware and keep on breathing. Take another deep breath. And thank yourself for taking some time off, being here, some time for yourself, which we all deserve. Time that we can use to relax, take it easy. So in the past few weeks, we've discussed the topic of embracing stillness. What it means, what are we looking for, what does stillness mean? Sometimes it takes time to become still in our mind, even if we do stop physically. There's a lot going on in our mind. But to spend some time to experience, to embrace, to see what comes up. And let's stop for a moment. I would ask you, what came up if you tried it out? Have you been trying it out in the past or not? And that's also an important awareness. If you're the type just to listen and then at the end say, thank you, it sounds amazing, but not actually do the work, you're not the only one. There are a lot like that, but it's an awareness. Just to be aware, I love to hear information, but not to actually do it. Or maybe tried doing it, but it's too hard. What am I looking for? I don't like it, which is beautiful. That's step number one. And I do know some of you are doing the work from the feedback that you sent me, and you can always send coachmenachem@gmail.com. And thank you all for sending me the feedback, whether it's positive, negative, whatever it is, it is. So I do get the feedback saying people are trying it out. It works or it doesn't. It worked maybe for a minute, maybe two, it helped or it didn't help. But we need to try it out to understand what we're talking about, to experience it. Last week we did a guided meditation, just to experience a little bit stillness. I would say it was really experiential. We had some noise in the middle. And that's something that could happen. And what happens? What's the reaction? We all have noise in our minds. You're going to sit down, try to sit for 5 minutes and do nothing, you will hear noise. So again, it wasn't easy, but we managed. And then we discussed why it could be hard, what comes up, why for many people it's hard just to stop and be, to stop doing. Different ideas that come up, and it's important that you know what comes up for yourself. When you try it out, you see the feelings, the thoughts that come up. What's that urge? What's that feeling that comes up? Doesn't let you just sit and breathe and just be. So it's important for you to know. Try it out and write it down, so at least you know what's that something behind it all that's pushing you all day. And then we had a few ideas how to start experiencing stillness, how to practice, whether it's walking in nature, deep breathing, taking a few minutes and just slowly starting to experience taking off and sitting in the stillness. We got some feedback both ways. One is somebody sent that my wife doesn't let me sit on the couch, do nothing. Well, I don't know what's going on in your house. And again, if you come home after a full day of work, you might need it. Your wife might be waiting for you. So you come home and sit and do nothing. That's not what we're discussing. So you have to know what we're looking for. But if when you come home and you do what you're helping out, and maybe on the weekend you've helped, you've done everything you need to do, and then you find some time to sit on the couch. And it could be your wife is going to say, hey, now is a good time to ask him to do this. Now is a good time to ask him to do that. So if she is part of the journey, you can discuss it with her or not. Maybe you can see, just explain, give me a list of all things you need to do and I'll do it, but I need to practice this 5 minutes of doing nothing. And then there's the other way. Somebody told me his wife there's never a dull moment. She's always on the go. There's always something on, which is amazing. And it's positive. There's a lot going on with the kids, work, cooking, shopping. There's a lot going on. I'm not telling anybody to stop. But that awareness, if you realize it on your spouse, don't change your spouse. Something that you can practice. But yeah, we do have that tendency of keep on going. And this is what we're discussing, why it's so hard to stop. And hopefully tonight at the end, we'll be able to spend a few minutes to experience what comes up. So awareness is always the first thing. If you've tried it out, become aware of what you feel. And it's hard for many people just to stop and do nothing, just to sit and breathe. Why? Somebody mentioned to me he wants to connect his kids more. So what should I do? Should I play with them the games they're playing? They're not interested. I see them playing. Should I try to play with them, or I should read them a book? I thought it's all very nice, but you don't have to do anything. Just be in the room and do nothing. Just be there. Just observe them. Just see them playing. That's it. It could be a new concept for many. And for many, the kids will take advantage. They'll say, oh, my father or my mother is sitting and do nothing. Now I can talk to them. If they come over, let them. But it's just being there. It's just having that space. And it could be hard for many. If they put it on their list, 5 minutes sitting with my kids and doing nothing. So then it became part of their to-do list. So it took away that edge. Okay, now I have to do it, so I'm going to do it, no problem. But sometimes you're sitting around doing nothing. What comes up? Maybe I'm a failure. I have to keep on going. What comes up when you sit and do nothing? Even people that are in the world, in my world, in this world of self-help, self-development, people who are always working and getting better, trying to figure themselves out, could find themselves in that trap many times. We discussed it before. It's buying another book. Maybe this book is the answer. Another course. I'll go to that lecture, take this class, or maybe give classes. Whatever comes up, we can get stuck in it. Maybe that's the answer. What's if you stop? Don't buy any more books. Don't listen to any lectures for a few days. Let's see what happens. I can't. I'm still searching. What am I searching for? I don't know. What are you searching for? Sit down and become aware of what am I searching for? Or what are you running away from? If you don't learn that skill, how do you feel about yourself? The joke is that I was almost up to my last book until I found one more. That one, maybe that one. So it's important to know, what am I running away from? Where am I running to? What am I looking for? Because we'll keep on being busy and even learning good things as long as I don't have to stop. Because the second I stop, that's when it all comes up. That's when it all comes up, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but you have to become aware of what it is. The worst thing that I can tell you is to stop. And I'm sorry, I feel bad. I know it's hard, but that's when these things come up. So it's important to become aware of what's coming up. What are you running away from? Where are you trying to get to? And you might have the answers already where you are now in the present moment, which it can take time, because in the beginning you're not used to this uncomfortable feeling. But if you stay there, keep on breathing, just stay there for a few minutes, wait till the alarm rings, set an alarm and wait. And then these things come up, and then you'll find answers inside of yourself. So the truth is, before we start, a little bit practice to stop and experience being on this journey. And the truth is, it's the journey of life. We all have some things that we've picked up, different beliefs, maybe limiting beliefs about ourselves or about the world. We have triggers when things happen, when we get stressed, overwhelmed. We all have it. Maybe from younger years, situations that we went through. And the way to release it, one of the ways of releasing it, at least, there are many ways, there are many techniques, modalities that they use in therapy to be able to release these old patterns. But what we're discussing is the way to let it go is to let it come up. That feeling that you're running away from, let it come up. Feel it. Don't get scared. It's uncomfortable, but you don't get scared. You can stay there, keep on breathing, feel what comes up, feel whatever is pushing you to continue, not to stay where you are, just feel it. And after a few minutes, we can let it flow. We can let it go eventually. We don't have to hold on to it. So there's that few minutes that might be hard. Those few minutes of just sitting there with it, experiencing it. It might be a negative feeling that you don't like, but if you want to let it go, let it flow, just stay there. You can write, journaling might help. Just write it down. I feel this way. I don't like it. Just write it down. Don't run away from it. And after a few minutes, slowly, it can become easier and you can let it go. But what happens is we sit down, we try. When these negative, whatever experience comes up, it's uncomfortable. Or the thought that says, why are you sitting and doing nothing? That's also uncomfortable. And then we get up and we continue the day. You don't let yourself get to the other sides of just letting it flow. So just to practice, if you find a few minutes quiet, with nothing going on, no technology, no books, nothing. You can listen to the birds chirping, listen to the noise around, and do nothing for a few minutes and see what comes up. Whatever feeling comes up, let it come up. Keep on breathing, take a deep breath. And what we're hoping for is it flows and it flows out. So let's take a few minutes to do this exercise, which will experience an emotion. Okay, so we can choose. You can choose a positive emotion or a negative emotion. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to start with a positive emotion. I hope you don't mind. Maybe next week we'll do a negative emotion. But it's the same idea, to sit with whatever comes up. For some people, it's positive. Some people, it's negative. To let it come up and sit with the emotion. Like we discussed, they're all together, positive, negative, they're emotions. It's either you let it come up or you don't. And if you don't, because you don't like the negatives, you probably don't spend too much time with the positives. So let's start tonight with some positive emotions. And if you can think of a time that's made you feel good, just choose something. I'm going to wait for a few seconds because I want it to be experiential. I don't want you to listen to what I'm saying, the idea you get, which is amazing. But now let's make it, let's experiment, let's experience it, let's feel it. So come up with something that made you feel positive. And let's set the intention to let ourselves feel it. For the next few minutes, I'm allowing myself to feel whatever it is, whatever I choose, and connect to a positive aspect in your life. So ask yourself, what's that one positive thing, a positive experience that stands out that you can remember? And I know sometimes people are blank. When you ask them, give me something positive, I don't know. That's also okay, an awareness. But you can choose anything positive, doesn't have to be major, doesn't have to be big. Choose one specific time that you felt positive. Maybe you did something, you finished a task, you felt moments of joy, maybe a meaningful connection with someone. Just choose something for this exercise. Okay, I hope you have something. And if you're listening to the recording, you can always pause, but don't stop. Don't stay here for too long. What's going to happen is you're going to run away. Just choose something. Doesn't have to be perfect, something positive. Very good. You can write it down, have it in front of you. Think about that time. Try to remember the experience. And try to visualize, try to see yourself in that space again. The way you felt, sensations, maybe the sounds. Try to get back to that space. And become aware of how it makes you feel physically. How do you feel in your body? If you want, you can put your hands on your chest just to let yourself feel of whatever comes up, that experience. See yourself reliving that positive experience. And how does it make you feel? Emotionally, what are the emotions that come up? How you feel physically, emotionally, and mentally, your thoughts. And whatever is easier for you, you can have your eyes open or closed, just to make yourself bring your attention to that time, bring it more into it, to the positive time, positive thing. And allow yourself to fully immerse, just immerse yourself in that feeling, in that experience. And feel it. What emotions come up? When you see yourself there, when you relive that moment, what emotions come up? How do you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? What does your body feel like? And now bring in some gratitude, feel grateful, thank Hashem for that moment. Bring in the gratitude for having that moment in your life, that positive time. How that made you feel, how it helped you. How can you use those moments, that feeling, how can you use it today? Where it can make a difference in your life when you focus on that positive thing, the positive time, how it makes you feel, and how it can make you feel now. And just to reflect, when can you do this more often? Just to look back on positive moments and let yourself sit with the moments, sit with it, whatever comes up. Maybe there are other things that you remember. So what we do is usually thank Hashem for a second and then we're on to the next. But if you can let yourself just experience and sit for a few minutes, just breathe and see how your body feels, what comes up, what sensations, what emotions come up. And see if you can do more often, maybe different things, different positive things in your life. You can have a list of them, make it easier. And after sitting in this space, just experiencing positive moments, you can reflect and you can journal. Just think back, how can I keep this feeling? Try to make a picture out of it. This moment that you're feeling, you capture that feeling, that moment, and what impact it made on you then, and what it does when you think about it now. And think, how can I use it in today's day, tomorrow, whenever I want, I can use it, go back to this positive experience. For beginners, it might be a little bit hard to find positives. Like I mentioned, you're looking for that huge positive moment, but we're looking for very small things. Being thankful, grateful for small things in our life. And then to spend a minute or two feeling grateful. Not just saying I'm grateful, and not just saying thank you, it's staying there. Staying in that moment. And then you can add things to the list. You don't always have to do this exercise. You can have a list of things. And then when you have a few minutes to sit, you can choose one of them, choose one, and just see yourself there. Experiencing that positive moment and like, wow. Take a deep breath. Wow, how did I feel then? It was really, really amazing. It was really, really amazing. That's that stopping and staying there, not running away. And if you haven't done it in a while, it might be uncomfortable, even positives. But just do it for a few minutes, connect to it. So that's experiencing a positive moment. Now, Mitzvah Shem, next week, we'll try to do the same thing with a negative moment. Might be a little bit hard. And to come prepared the next few days after you experience the positives, think of something negative that's happening in your life or it has happened, a trigger, something that when you think about it, just don't like it. You don't want to experience that. I don't want to experience it. I don't want it. It's going to remind you of that negative moment. And what are we going to do? Sit with it. Why do that? Because that's part of it. Being able to sit with whatever comes up. That could be the reason why when you sit and do nothing, it's so hard. And you want to continue being busy and being in the fight and flight mode all day. And then you wonder why you're stressed and overwhelmed. You're trying to find a few minutes to be just peaceful, relaxed, and you can't. Well, that could be the reason you're running away from something. It might be some triggers we all have. And when we sit and do nothing, it comes up. So many of us pull out our phone. Keeps us going. We're busy. Because if we don't have our phone, all the negative, uncomfortable feelings come up. But if we don't let ourselves sit in those moments, then we're not going to be able to stop. So what we're going to have to do is experience and feel and not get caught up. We will feel negative. Same way we felt tonight, positives, we will feel negatives. But I'll be able to continue staying in that space and keep on breathing. And hopefully it flows. We can let it out slowly. And again, like I always mention, if it's something that you might need somebody on your side, you have to talk to somebody about it. If it's something that's it's heavy and we shouldn't bring it up over here, then don't. You should find somebody who you can talk to, discuss it, somebody who can be there for you. But what we're looking for, those small things, small situations, not so small, it's hard, but it's those negative triggers that we don't like. Write them down, write down a few, bring them next week, come prepared. And then when we do the exercise, you'll be ready. You'll know exactly what you're working on. And like we mentioned last week, to be like that baby in the mother's hands. The mother could be having a conversation. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise. External noise, wherever you are, at work, at home. Then there's the internal noise in your mind. But if you can be that little baby in the arms of a mother, just peaceful, knows nothing, doesn't get connected to what the mother's talking about, then eventually we can let things come up and let it go. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thank yourself for taking some time off. Again, the recordings of the past classes are available at menachembernfeld.com. Any feedback, positive or negative, whatever it is, coachmenachem@gmail.com, always welcome. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And I'll see you next week. Mitzvah Hashem.